Hello everybody, this is Miss Jones, your soon-to-be dual enrollment teacher in the fall of 2019. But this summer I am super excited because I'm going to give you a project to work on. Yay! Summer fun! So anyway, this is called the Raymond Carver Project. And let me get this to work here. First thing we're going to do is to meet our author, Mr. Raymond Carver. He was born on May 25th, 1938 in Oregon, and he died August 2nd, 1988 in Washington. I think generally when we study authors in high school, college, they tend to be from 100 years ago, so it's kind of interesting to start off with a more modern writer. He was an American short story writer and poet whose realistic writings about the working poor mirrored his own life. In a lot of ways, his work is very autobiographical, which is really incredibly interesting because I think one thing about Raymond Carver is that he writes about what he truly knows, and so that makes his work far more complex. Carver was the son of a sawmill worker. He married straight out of high school and supported his wife and 2 children by working as a janitor, gas station attendant, delivery man. He had a variety of blue-collar jobs. However, he did become seriously interested in a writing career after taking a creative writing course at Chico State College, which is now California State University. His short stories began to appear in magazines while he studied at Humboldt State, and that's in California. And his first success as a writer came in 1967 with the story, Will You Please Be Quiet? Please? And he began writing full-time after losing his job as a textbook editor in 1970. The highly successful short story collection, Will You Please Be Quiet? Please? Established his reputation. Sadly, Carver began drinking heavily in 1967 and was repeatedly hospitalized for alcoholism in the 70s. However, he still continued to churn out these short stories. After conquering his drinking problem in the late 70s, he taught for several years at the University of Texas, at El Paso, and at Syracuse University. And in 1983, he won a literary award whose generous annual stipend freed him to again concentrate on his writing full-time. His later short story collections were What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. And you guys will, one of the short stories that you are going to read is called The Bath, and it was actually published in the What We Talk About When We Talk About Love in 1981. And then he released a second collection of short stories, and this one was entitled Cathedral. And this was in 1984. And in the Cathedral collection, you will have the second short story that you are going to read, and it is called A Small Good Thing. Also in 88, he published a collection, Where I'm Calling From. While his short stories were what made his critical reputation, he was also an accomplished poet. And most of his poetry reads a lot like Robert Frost. You're probably familiar with Robert Frost. And some of his poetry collections include At Night the Salmon Move, 1976, Where Water Comes Together with Other Water, that's 1985, and Ultramarine, which is 1986. He died of lung cancer at the age of 50. Which was extremely tragic because he was so young and so talented. However, the alcoholism that he had throughout his life sort of weakened his system, so it was a sad end. It ended too soon. Generally, in his short stories, Carver chronicles the everyday lives and problems of the working class, and more specifically in the Pacific Northwest. His blue-collar characters are crushed by broken marriages, financial problems, failed careers, and most of his characters seem to be unable to articulate their own pain, what they're going through, So his short stories tend to be quite tragic and sad. Carver's stripped-down minimalist prose style is remarkable for its honesty and power. And a lot of times when you read Carver's short stories, you feel incredibly sad. Carver is not a feel-good read, y'all. So don't pick it up for fun. He is, however, credited with helping revitalize the genre of the English language short story. It fell out of favor for a while, but Carver helped bring it back into fashion. So, for the Raymond Carver project, your first step is going to be to read The Bath and A Small Good Thing. Basically, these are two stories. The Bath is the original version, and A Small Good Thing is basically the same story, same plot, but he goes in and he changes things significantly. The Bath is rather short, whereas A Small Good Thing goes into a bit more detail. So you'll see a huge difference. You'll notice here that I've given you a link to both stories, The Bath and then A Small Good Thing. I recommend reading The Bath first. And if these links don't work, good grief, we have the internet, so just type in The Bath and PDF and you can pull it up. Same thing with A Small Good Thing. I would encourage you, as you are reading these two stories, to take notes. Note how the characters work, how themes are working, how your characters are interacting with one another. So just pay really close attention. The better notes you take as you read, the less you will have to go back and reread. So I encourage that. Step 2. After you have read both stories, you are going to choose one of the topics below. We have compare and contrast the development of character in The Bath and A Small Good Thing. You can compare and contrast how Nelson/Franklin's family works into the theme of both The Bath and A Small Good Thing. You have no idea who Nelson/Franklin's is, but you will once you read the story. And then lastly, compare and contrast the endings of The Bath and A Small Good Thing, because the stories end very differently. And that will be an interesting thing to kind of look at and see which you prefer. After you have chosen your topic, you are going to seek out one scholarly source to use in your analysis. What is a scholarly source, you ask? Well, let me tell you. When a source has been peer-reviewed, that means that it has undergone the review and scrutiny of a review board of colleagues in the author's field. That means before something has been published on the internet, in a book, in a journal, in an online journal, a group of experts on that particular topic sit down and go, yes, this is correct, your facts are correct, you may publish it. Or they may look at it and go, this is the dumpster fire of information. This cannot be published. Get out. So we only want to seek the sources that are credible, that have been reviewed, and that are scholarly, and the information is correct. So I expect you to find one high-quality source to use in this paper. Some examples of high-quality scholarly sources are books published by university presses and articles in scholarly journals. Generally, a scholarly journal, which is basically a smart person's magazine, will have titles like A Journal for the Interdisciplinary Study of Literature, like really boring long titles. There are some magazines, Smithsonian, for example, is one magazine that has scholarly articles, but sometimes in the Smithsonian, you don't have scholarly articles. You have to really look at the author. Are they a professor? Are they a doctor? Are they an expert in the field? Government documents are a scholarly source. Universities, research institutes, all of these are scholarly sources, so you may use these. What is not a scholarly source? Let me fill you in. SparkNotes, eNotes, Wikipedia, loosely regulated or unregulated media content, such as internet discussion boards, blogs, free online encyclopedias, talk shows, television, news shows, Chat rooms, personal websites. Also not a scholarly source is if you go online, Google the topic, and then somebody else's paper pulls up from another university system. This is not a scholarly source. Stay far, far away. My best advice to you is to check out a library and pull a book off. Books are generally always scholarly sources unless they were written by a Kardashian. So, your best luck, pop into the library. Libraries are magical, beautiful places. So, that's my advice. This paper should be at least 5 paragraphs long, and it will be written in MLA format. All of you guys should be familiar with MLA format because you have used this throughout your entire high school career. Additionally, this paper must have at least 3 properly cited in-text citations. I expect 1 from the Bath, 1 from a small good thing, and 1 from the scholarly source that you have found. This MLA paper will require a properly formatted works cited page at the end. So, if you're thinking in your head, holy gobstoppers, Miss Jones, I've forgotten what that MLA paper needs to look like. I've totally forgotten what a format is. Miss Jones, what is an in-text citation? Well, look what I've got for you. MLA Format Help. This is a link to Purdue OWL. These guys are the bomb.com. They have the answer to any questions that you could possibly have about this MLA paper. How to properly format your in-text citation, how to properly format your citation on your works cited page. What does my paper need to look like? It also has sample papers for you to peruse so you can see how your title page needs to look. Where do I place my title? How do I do my page numbers? Do I need a last name in the page number or just simply the number? All of these questions can be answered if you will follow this link. Be prepared to turn this project/paper in on the first day of class. When we walk in and I see your beautiful smiling faces, you will have in hand your MLA Raymond Carver project. You will submit the print version to me on the first day, and you will also have a PDF version saved on your computer, because once we sort out Blackboard together and I get you all logged in, you are going to submit a PDF version onto the Blackboard Turnitin system. Okay? So, you guys are going to do great. I look forward to some amazing papers, and also I look super extra duper forward to meeting you all. It seems like it's so far away as I record this in May, but it will go by in a flash. So enjoy your summers. Have a great time. Enjoy these short stories, and I will see you in August.